Well, I hope this shows up well, or reasonably well on the camera. It's, I know the light is pretty blinding in here because we're against these very dark trees. I'm going to go ahead and work with this right now. This little brush that I've been using is, I bought it specifically to finish this painting. And I haven't even played with this painting. And I know I thought that I might revisit it. I think in the last video I said I would, you know, it's a bit like a child's drawing in a sense. And it is, but it's that kind of innocence that sometimes actually can be very attractive in a painting. So I'm just going to treat this kind of like, okay, I don't have anything else I'm going to do right now. Is at night I can go upstairs, lay down and watch television and be inert. I'm not a fan of doing that. If I have some free time, I'd still rather be doing something productive than just sitting around being entertained. So instead, I'm going to play. And I'm going to play with this little brush for a while. And what do we have here? We have it's a very hard paint. I think I want to find a little tube of magenta. Quinacridone magenta that I kicked around here somewhere. Put a little hint of that on the palette. Because it is such a small painting, and it is going to be my plaything, or a portion of it will be my plaything for the next little bit tonight, I'm going to do something that I was already thinking of doing earlier. I just didn't get to it, or I didn't bother entertaining it because I moved on to other things. But I think what I'll do is take these colors, and I think one of you guys out there mentioned actually that they liked the idea. I presented the idea of graduating the colors of the sky into the distant hill. If the hill becomes immaterial and no longer becomes a hill, it doesn't matter. Who cares what it is? It's shape, line, and color. So I like that idea. And that's what I'm going to do. Gradually. You know, it's an 8 by 10 panel, for crying out loud. There's not much to it. Why make it more complicated than it has to be? You know, regarding its subject matter. I'll introduce the odd fleck of color up here as well. I'm using CAD yellow medium, mixing in a bit of quinacridone magenta, and every now and then adding a bit of white. I'm really obliterating this line. I think that the idea of a hillside is disappearing pretty rapidly. In fact, the more I do at the moment, the more I like the idea of disappearing the hillside. Just graduating color, and that's enough. Now that I have this little brush, it's actually very easy to do. Oops, that's getting pretty intense. Maybe we'll just... maybe we'll just hold off on that. Okay, back to our CAD yellow medium. And a bit of white. And touching our magenta. Making it slightly more orange. Oh yeah, I'm liking that graduation. You know, as much as I hate doing this, this little thing is going to end up being more of a painting than a study. I'll just have to make sure that I stay reasonably careless. Which so far seems to be working. I'll let some of that some of that magenta and white just show through here and there. But for the most part, I'm really liking the look of this. I know I mentioned it looked a little bit like a child's crayon drawing, and it does, but it's playful, and it can, you know, you can mature it by feathering and blending, and my goodness, this thing might actually end up being something. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Wipe the brush, Phil. Wipe the brush. Wipe the palette, Phil. I need clean colors right now, very clean colors. All right, let's just take some straight CAD yellow medium, which for all and intense, and even in cabins, is a sort of a pale orange, but a high chroma orange. Not that weak CAD orange medium. Okay, touches of that. And let's also lay in a few bits of that here and there, down below. My goodness, this thing might just end up sparkling, you know that? Boy, I love those intense light colors, those intense high chroma yellows and oranges. That's much better. That's much better. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of white. We're going to go to CAD yellow pale and a touch of CAD yellow medium. And some titanium white. And we're going to bring some pretty good strength down into this area. See, I don't just want to simply go up. I want to angle this color. This is our most foreground and most dominant land shape, so we want to oppose that with maybe a little bit of angle here. And I'm going layer of paint over layer of paint over layer of paint, and it's not bothering me in the least, because as long as it's reasonably consistent throughout the work, throughout the painting, I think it works. I think it works okay. Oh my goodness, that becomes richer. That becomes so much richer so quickly. I have nothing against naive art at all. It can be beautiful. But when you're trying to do something that is not naive art and it ends up looking like naive art, it's a different story, you know. I want to break up this top a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. I like that this corner is subdued. I like that this top is a little bit subdued. I'm really enjoying this intensity. And I'm enjoying that mixing. I can't believe how much I'm enjoying feathering. I'm not even feathering, I'm interspersing with small dots. It's not pointillism, but you know what I mean. Yeah, when you have a little brush like this, you can play. And that's not normally my favorite, but whatever. I like that. I like that. I like our silhouette. I think that in lieu, or not in lieu of, but because I've introduced sort of all this speckly stuff and more of a textured looking surface, I'm going to stop worrying about all the lines surrounding all the trees. We're just going to paint the trees in. Now, I have some varnishing to do tomorrow. I also have to make a crate for the paintings that I'm going to ship to the gallery. Probably will not do any painting tomorrow, unless I do a little bit of playing here, but it won't be much. Oh no, actually, sorry. I'm painting tonight, but I'm going to upload this tomorrow. Just so the algorithm knows that I'm still working. This brush good and clean. When you're using cad yellow pale and white. not always that easy to know when your brush is clean because the bristles on my brush started out as being white. Well, a little off-white. And I don't want to get the brush too clean. You know, if you clean your brush too much, that is the time that your hairs will splay. That's the time that you do most of the damage to your brush. Unless you use a new brush to scumble or attack it, you know, diagonally. As long as you're painting relatively parallel, the biggest damage you will do, the most damage you will do to your brush is when you clean it. Don't beat the heck out of it. Don't dump it in a pot of turpentine and scrape it back and forth like that. You'll kill your brush in no time. And yeah, brushes, well, they're not cheap. They're not cheap either. Respect those puppies. Even if you don't use puppies as your brushes, still respect them. I'm going to zoom in because I know this is a very small thing, but I'm really liking it, so I want to show you what I've got going from my point of view. Let's zoom in so the camera can actually pick up some colors. See, I have layer of paint over layer of paint over layer of paint. The first layer was the thickest, and now I'm just sort of laying little bits on here and there. But it makes the sky so rich, makes the area so rich. And then that gentle sort of dropping into the hills with the magenta backdrop, letting a little bit of that show through. Yeah, I know it was only a few minutes, but that was fun. I'm re-encouraged regarding this little painting. See you soon.